Books everyone pretends to have read. In the world of literate culture, there exists a pantheon of monumental works that function less as read texts and more as totems of intellectual aspiration. These are the books that inhabit our collective consciousness and our shelves, but whose complete traversal is a feat rarely acknowledged and even more rarely accomplished. The confession of not having read them, or of having succumbed along the way, remains a silent taboo in a culture that prizes perseverance over pleasure. Tolstoy's War and Peace is the archetypal example of intimidating vastness. With its dramatis personae spanning hundreds of characters, including the infamous trinity of Natashas, the work demands an almost cartographic concentration from the reader to map its complex genealogical and social webs. The narrative oscillates between the minutiae of aristocratic life and the epic scenes of the Napoleonic Wars. But both spheres unfold at such a deliberate pace that many readers, around the 100th page, seek refuge in digital summaries for emergency narrative triage. If Tolstoy intimidates with its scale, James Joyce's Ulysses does so with its hermetic density. Often acquired in youth as an intellectual rite of passage, the novel transforms a single day in the life of Leopold Bloom into a modernist labyrinth. Navigating its pages without the aid of a small army of guides, notes, and perhaps the spectral presence of the author himself is a task that transforms reading into an exhausting exegetical expedition, daunting readers since its publication in 1922. Similarly, Herman Melville's Moby Dick tests the endurance of its readers. The iconic opening line, "Call me Ishmael," promises an adventure that soon delves into encyclopedic digressions on cetacean biology, the taxonomy of naval cables, and philosophical meditations on whiteness. The great white whale's belated appearance occurs long before most readers have already abandoned the Pequod, content to know the bare bones of the plot: obsession, hunting, capitalism, as a substitute for the 135 chapters of marine biology. We make a tacit pact. Knowing the preface and the denouement is equivalent to having traveled the journey. In the field of nonfiction, Stephen Hawking's A Brief History of Time holds a place of honor. Promising to demystify the cosmos without the burden of equations, the book quickly plunges into a conceptual density where the reader's understanding collapses under its own gravity, much like the event horizon it describes. It has become a talisman of intellectual curiosity, a trophy prominently displayed while we secretly turn to more palatable explanations on video platforms to understand what black holes actually are. Finally, Orwell's 1984 suffers from a distinct paradox. It is a victim of its own profound cultural resonance. Concepts like Big Brother, Newspeak, and Room 101 have been so thoroughly assimilated into the popular lexicon that reading the original text can seem redundant, an exercise in confirmation. The experience is one of pre-existing cultural osmosis, and readers seeking sustained dystopian suspense often find themselves frustrated by the middle sections, which function more like a dense political treatise than a narrative thriller. In this scenario, honesty becomes a radical act. Literary culture has engendered a strange, performative prison where intellectual merit is measured by the ability to endure dry readings. Confessing in a social circle, "I started, but I found it unbearable," is a liberating act. It is in that moment that relief spreads across the faces around, unmasking silent complicity and affirming a deeper truth. Life is too finite to be wasted on books that resemble penance. True wisdom perhaps lies not in conquering these titans, but in admitting that not all great works were made for all readers.